Hello. My name is Kelly Mitchell and welcome to my channel, Kelly Universal Healing. I am an early childhood educator, an astrologer, and intuitive card reader. So this is where I bring you the horoscope for the week for parents, teachers, and children. So typically I only do Monday to Friday in these horoscopes. However, I thought since Saturday is Halloween, I thought it would be beneficial to include that as well. So I think that it'll be probably just as long as my other horoscopes are, but I won't spend as much time on the days of the week. So we start off Monday, October 26th, and the moon is in Pisces. So for those of you who watched last week's video or paid attention to last week on Monday, you may have noticed that children may have been a little bit spacey. Students may have been a bit spacey. People in general may have been a little bit spacey. And that was because last Monday, we actually had the moon was squaring Neptune. Now, and that Neptune is in Pisces. So now we have the moon in Pisces. And so it will feel very similar to last week Monday. So if you were kind of like last week Monday, what's going on? Why is everybody on some sort of different wavelength? This is why. So you can expect, like with the moon in Pisces, children might be a little bit more spacey. They might be a little bit more emotional or sensitive. Those of you who have Pisces children might already know this type of energy of what that feels like. Pisces is a very sensitive type of energy, especially in children. When I encounter Pisces children, they're really quick to have tears, really quick to be very emotional about things. And so it's really important to support everybody through this. So it's not just going to be Pisces children who are going to be feeling this. This is going to be everybody who's going to be feeling this transit. And how it will depend on everybody's sign and everybody's entire chart, how this will specifically impact everybody and every child in their own way. However, we can get a general sense of the moon being in Pisces, what that's going to be like on a general level for everyone. So that's going to be more emotional, more sensitive, especially since the sun is now in Scorpio. We are also going to be feeling that energy. Like this is a very water element type of day where we have, the sun in Scorpios. Scorpios are usually, in my experience, especially with children, they can feel like they have like this tough exterior. So where inside they might be a little bit like they might be feeling those emotions, it can almost be hard for them to fully express those emotions. They could be the child who, they fall down, they scrape their elbow, I'm fine. And you can see that there's tears like welling up in their eyes, but they don't want to cry, they don't want to show it. That is really related with Scorpio. So we have this very emotional and sensitive type day. Now, of course, we have this all leading up to Halloween. So there's the excitement that goes along with that. I don't know how different it's going to be because of what's happening in the world this year. To me, it doesn't feel like there's as much hype as there typically is. That being said, it's going to be different for everybody everywhere. And so just be aware this week as we go into Monday. So we also have this moon is nearly conjuncting Neptune. So this means that there might be a little bit more than meets the eye. You have to dig a little bit deeper. Whenever Neptune is involved, there's typically things that are unseen. This can be like positively attributed or negatively attributed. So it's just like really pay attention. What are the things that you are not seeing? What are the things that are going on behind the scenes? The children who come in all emotional on Monday morning, or even your colleagues, if they feel off, rather than putting that at like face value, kind of dig a little bit deeper. Why could that be? Channel your own intuition and try to guess, or not really guess, but have some sympathy and understanding, and try to understand why these children might be feeling this way. Why is this child extra sensitive today? What happened in the morning? Did they not get to finish their breakfast? Did they have a poor sleep last night? Were they playing with their toy and suddenly now they have to go to school? Is there something else going on that they're just not comfortable being at school because of friendship dynamics, especially for elementary children or older, right? So there's a lot of different dynamics, and as educators or parents, it's kind of really our job to kind of intuitively and factually look at what's really going on and try to be there as much to support these children as much as we can. So check in deeper with what you're seeing and feeling, both intuitively, physically, like what are you seeing on face value, but what does your intuition already tell you? As teachers and parents, of course, we have built these relationships with families and children, and so we really also have kind of like a sixth sense about this. We know, we're like, okay, well, this is a little bit off today, and how can we navigate this? Where can we bring this child so that they are feeling much more comfortable with where they are at today? So expect changes in your security as well. Drop-offs could be unusual, like I said. Interactions with parents could be unusual. This is because, that Moon-Neptune thing, things unseen. So, like, just really kind of expect the unexpected in a way. Go into work feeling just like, okay, it's a new day. What's today going to bring? You don't have all the answers. And as a parent, the same thing. Wake up, what's today going to bring? And kind of go with the flow. So as we move into Tuesday, we still have Mars and Aries. And so I will say that like every Tuesday should be the day that you go outside first thing in the morning. Or Tuesday should be the day that, maybe walk to school if you can, or send your children to walk to school if you can, or bike to school. Maybe you want to go for a hike before school. That might be a little bit ambitious for a lot of people, but if you can swing it, I would say do it. Even if you're an adult, get that extra energy in the beginning of the day. Like Tuesday is ruled by Mars, and Mars and Aries is really kind of like that pushy type of energy. It's like, no, I'm gonna do things my way. Mars is all about how we exert our energy, and Aries is all about independence. Mars is also ruled by Aries. So this is really kind of like this energy exerting day, this physical energy exerting day. So the more you can engage in physical activity in the classroom, going outside, or like structured physical gross motor activities, I think that your day will go much better. Or even better, unstructured gross motor activities, because then the children are going to feel in charge of what they're doing. That's the Aries energy, and that's that independence. So whatever that looks like for you as a teacher, as a parent, as a student, who's ever watching, use Tuesdays for like probably the next, 4 months to really be the day that you're going to get some sort of physical exercise in, whatever that looks like for you. All right, so now let's move on to Wednesday. So Wednesday, October 28th. So Mercury has been retrograde for, I think, just over a week or week and a half now. It's going back, it's just back into Libra. So it was in Scorpio for a little bit. It's going to be going back into Libra. And Libra is all about the relationships and bringing the balance in. So like I had mentioned in previous weeks, where can you balance that, like me as an individual with the collective, right? In the classroom, it's so important that we do that nobody falls between the cracks, that the individual is being recognized, but also the community and the dynamics as a whole are being recognized. But also as a parent, especially if you have multiple children, making sure that, you're recognizing the individual children as well as the whole collective family unit. So this is a really good time with Mercury being retrograde to kind of reflect on it and be like, okay, so I've seen how this dynamic is playing out. I've seen it for the last few weeks. Even looking at yourself, like the relationships that you have with others, you versus the collective, as a teacher or a parent, kind of see like, where do I stand? And is this in alignment with me? So it's not really so much a day for taking that action, but it's a really good time to observe and just notice what's coming up in your life, and just notice the relationships you do have. Are they serving you? Are they in alignment with you? Is there, like, how can you be better in the relationships in your life as well, right? Probably anybody who's watching this has lots of relationships that they need to foster, because probably everyone who's watching this is either a parent or a student or a teacher. And so if you're a parent, you have children, right? And those relationships are very important. And if you're a teacher, then you have many, many relationships you need to foster. And of course, if you're a student, you have a lot of friendships. I'm assuming, if not, you have parents or teachers or somebody that you have these relationships or connections with, to really look at and make sure that it's in alignment with you. Of course, not everything we can change. If you're a student and you're like, oh, I really don't like my teacher, she's not in alignment with me. Well, it's not really like, in most cases, you can just say, well, I'm not going to take this course now because I'm not in alignment with my teacher. But it's really looking at things as to how can you make yourself a better person or a better communicator. How can you bring more balance while still being yourself, but also accepting the other person? Okay, so as we move into Thursday, October 29th, we have Jupiter still at 20 degrees of Capricorn. It's still this expanding, rebuilding energy, and it's squaring that Mercury in retrograde. So it could be a difficult day to communicate with people, especially when it comes to your own understandings, as Jupiter does rule our understandings and our lessons that we've gained in this life. Mercury rules communication. Mercury retrograde, communication errors. So there could be some misunderstandings. So just try to come from a place of love and of empathy, and try to recognize or try to understand that, if you're a teacher, your lessons might not flow as great as you'd like them to today. Your communication with parents might not flow as great as you'd like them to today. Like children, their communication isn't going to flow as great as you'd like them to today. It's going to be really difficult to really understand other people and perspectives, and also to get your perspective across. So again, we're all in this together. Try to come from a place of empathy in that. So now as we move into Friday, October 30th, the day before Halloween, we have Venus in Libra. So Venus is at home. This is her home sign. And it's minorly trining Saturn. And Saturn is also in its home sign. It's a little bit interesting because typically when you have a trine, they would both be in either the earth or the air signs, which they are not because it's just off by a couple of degrees. But I think it feels good. Saturn is in its home sign. This is where you have those structures, rules, regulations, and also limitations. It's like a healthy discipline when Saturn's used properly. Or rather looked at properly. And Venus in its home sign is like romance, desire, love, values. So there's this real potential of balance between the two of them. If we have kind of like Saturn, which is like the kind of this, we look at it as this planet of limitations, it can really feel restrictive. It can feel like it's like, oh, like you have something gripping on you, or like you're in jail or something, or you can't move forward because there's all these Saturn blocks in front of you, which is not the way that it's meant to be with Saturn. But then the opposite can be true for Venus. So if you have like Venus sometimes can be like, I desire to have all of these things. I need all of these things, or I want to indulge in all this food, or um, all of that type of thing, you know. So it's quite different in energies, right? Like you can imagine that Saturn would be like, no, don't eat, don't eat all the box of chocolates. And Venus is like, but I want to, I just want to eat all the chocolate. And so we have these two elements that are balancing each other out, right? So when you have something that you desire, but you also have this way of structuring it and bringing a concrete sense of awareness to it, you can really start to achieve those desires. So, you can really achieve a lot of balance within the classroom. I feel in this balance and strength and beauty as teachers, looking at your goals, right? What is it that you have as a goal that you'd like to move in going forward, right? As parents, it's the same thing. What types of goals do you have? Lay that foundation. But there's also this T-square on Friday that I can't not talk about, where we have Moon, Mercury, and Saturn. And Saturn's at the tip of that. Saturn Saturn is the structures, and Mercury is like my ideas, and the moon is my memories. And so this T square is like, I don't know, it's kind of like asking us, are you so focused on the way things have always been or always used to be to not allow the new things to come in? Because we also have Uranus opposing the sun. So you have no choice but to change. And I've said this in a few of my lives, and it might be a little bit brash or a little bit harsh or come across a bit strongly, but it's true. We have no choice but to change. And this is on an individual and on a collective scale. On an individual level, you have to look at your life and see what needs to change. You know inside of you what has needed to change for a very long time. On a collective level, we are seeing that. We can clearly see that there are a lot of things that need to shift, that need to change, and for probably many of you who are watching this, the education system is at the center of that needs to change so strongly. We need to revamp our entire education system. And so it's kind of look at all of that. What structures need to change in your life? Don't be so focused on the past that you can't bring in these new things that are going to come, or be a part of this new change or this new shift, or don't feel like you can't be a part of that, because we need everybody to share their ideas and opinions and be part of this shift. All right, so now we're going to look at Halloween, October 31st. This is Saturday. So again, a little bit more than I normally put out, but I thought that it would be beneficial for everyone. So we do have a full moon on Halloween, a full blue moon. Please be careful on Halloween. That's my biggest thing that I want to say to everybody. We have Uranus at 8 degrees of Taurus, the moon at 8 degrees of Taurus, and the sun at 8 degrees of Scorpio. I cannot help but think that there's going to be big things that are going to be happening, big transformations, or like unexpected things. We have Uranus is there, there's unexpected things. And so it's Halloween, there's unexpected things, it's a full blue moon. I think that everybody should just err on the side of caution on things, is kind of my take on it for Halloween. You know, I would actually probably go as far as to say that trick-or-treating, maybe you do something different this year. Keep your children inside. do something fun inside with your children, or get together with a close group of friends. I know we all have our little bubbles or whatever, but like try to keep it small or contained or with people that you already know. Normally this is not advice that I would be giving. I'm normally the person who's like, yeah, go do it. But I think with Halloween is just, my feeling is to err on the side of caution. So on the other side of the spectrum though, Uranus, yes, it's things unexpected, but this Taurus Scorpio dynamic really rules our values and our finances. Taurus is much more personal values and finances, and Scorpio is much more the together values and finances. So this would be like looking at like yours and your partner's financial situation. I know this is kind of getting a little bit off track than what I normally do, but I feel like it's necessary. So really for like teachers, parents, and university students, this is a good time to assess that, to assess these desires, these values, release old ones. Like in values, it's like values is so many things. Values rules like your material possessions. Values is like your money. Values is also what you place value upon. So if you're somebody who really values healthy eating, like look at those types of values that you have, assess them and make sure that they're in alignment with who you are truly, not that somebody else has projected that value upon you. Okay, now like this is like an especially good time because we have Venus in Libra, right? So she's at home. Venus is also this, what do I desire? Libra brings balance. Venus is also about your values and whatnot as well. So really look at that. Where do you want to be in your life? Like I said, there's no pressing pause. Like it's time to make a shift. It's time to make a change. So use your intuition to guide you, because the sun is going to be trining Neptune, not exactly, but it is. And you use that as a guide. Use your emotions and use your intuition to guide you through this and through this day. So I have a few questions to ask everyone for you to just reflect upon before I end this, right? Especially going on to Saturday on Halloween. So as teachers, since we have this full moon in Taurus, which is then opposing the sun in Scorpio, and Uranus is there, there's asking for some sort of change. And we know this is involving in some sort of value. So I also want to put it out there, like journal on this. Can you make extra money in another way? What can you do to be bringing in more income into your life that is more in alignment with you? Is your classroom and your workplace in alignment with you, with your values? After everything you've been through this year, is all of that still sitting with you the same way that it has in previous years? What about like your relationships? Do you have meaningful relationships with your students, with their families, with your colleagues? Just pay attention and notice to what those answers are that come up for you, and journal on it, because there's going to be a time in the next few months where there will be an opportunity to act on those things. So just pay attention to them. Now, as parents, it's the same thing, you know, can you make money in other ways? Can you bring more income into your life in other ways? Is your home or your homeschool or your environment in alignment with your values? Are you doing the things that are in alignment with you? Have you been working but really you want to stay at home and homeschool your children? Or have you been homeschooling your children but really you want them to go to school and they want to go to school but you're too afraid to send them to school because of the conditions of our world? Like, look at these things. How are the relationships with everybody in your house? How strong are those bonds? Really take some time to think about this. Really. And as students, like, now I'm thinking like university students probably, because really it's easier for them and they have more autonomy over what they do than other students. But again, the same question for you. Can you make more money elsewhere? Can you be doing something on your own to create more income for yourself? Channel your intuition. See what comes up for you. Is the school that you're doing or the program that you're taking even in alignment with you? I know this is something, and for those of you who are watching, if you are between the ages, let's see, university is like typically 18, 22, something like that. I can almost guarantee you that you are going to change fields. I can almost guarantee you that once you hit your Saturn return, but between 28 and 31, that you're going to make a shift or that something else is going to change. So don't get so attached or worked up that you feel like even though your current environment might not be in alignment with you, or this current program that you're taking might not be in alignment with you, but you feel like you have to do it. You don't. You don't have to do it. You can make a change, and it's not too late. I will say that. No, it doesn't matter. It's not too late. Make sure it's in alignment with you, because you're probably going to change it again later anyways. So just focus on right now, making sure that that is in alignment with you. So also the last thing I want to say, making things in alignment, is look at your friendships. Look at your friendships and your relationships. Are they supportive of your goals, of your dreams, of your ambitions, of where you want to go? Or are they kind of the opposite of that? Are they not supporting you in the direction that you want to be going in? Again, you just have to really look at that. And for everybody, after you take a good look at these things, set an intention to let those things go that are no longer in alignment with you. Because the time to shift is now. It really is. I know I finished off a little bit different than I typically do, but I think it was needed. And I will be back next week with your next horoscope. And please enjoy this week. Have patience with yourself. Have patience with others. And just be yourself. That's my advice this week for you. Bye.